Welcome to the future, step and set a spark. Hey, building tomorrow, lighting up the dark. Ideas evolve, dreams come alive. HDD AI, where legacies thrive. HD.
Hello, and welcome to Teaching Tuesday, our first Teaching Tuesday of the year. I can't believe we're in 2026 already, kicking it off. I hope you have your vision boards done. If not, Kim's here. She the vision board queen. Um, I know she has a class or something coming up soon. Definitely get with her on that. But today for Teaching Tuesday, we're blending a little bit of mindset and Teaching Tuesday together because one of the latest things that I am doing um, is opening up a school. But before I get in all the logistics, let me go ahead and introduce myself because I'm super excited. Well, my name is Michelle Anunswa. I am the co-owner of Harmony's Divine Design, where I work alongside the amazing T Weaver. At Harmony's Divine Design, we work with new and seasoned entrepreneurs, helping you guys get out of your stuck place in more ways than one. So we do that by offering one-on-one business coaching, online classes, and products and services to help streamline your workflow. So I'm going to rewind back really quick because I opened up very excited because I have some really great news I want to share with everyone. So to start it off, this Teaching Tuesday is very special as it is also the first Teaching Tuesday for Harmony's Divine Design New School, HDD AI Legacy Hub. That baby is, I will honestly say, my baby, as y'all can tell, because I'm glowing. Just to give you a little insight on exactly what the HDD AI Legacy Hub is. We are literally working with you from foundation to succession with providing avenues and ways for you to not just learn something new about AI, but to effectively apply it so that it can be the life-changing resource that it genuinely is for you, whether it be creating your own business, applying it within your current position at work, or even if it's just something that you do for enjoyment. The AI Legacy Hub is not just teaching you skills, but also assisting in preparing you for your future. You know, we have children, grandkids, nieces, nephews, aunties, etc., individuals that we love and care about that we really want to leave something behind more than just thank you and some jewelry, to be honest. You know, this is something that will speak beyond you even being here. Once it's set up, correctly and efficiently, and you have the skills and know how to do so. And that's really why AI Legacy Hub was born. It's born because I too have a family that I want to leave something behind for, you know, for them to learn from and grow with. And even if it doesn't teach them anything else, it teaches them that, hey, listen, mommy is going after her dreams and her goals. So the Legacy Hub, that's family. That's family. And I really do hope that as it continues to grow, that the vision is definitely well seen, that the messages provided are well learned, and the motivation is beyond applied in many ways. So I'll drop the link for that. But yeah, so that is why I was bubbling and babbling in the beginning.
Now, is that club open to everybody?
Yes, and that is another wonderful thing. The AI Legacy Hub is open to everyone. Everyone. So Dean, you ain't got to be on the other side of the door. You in the house. You in the house. But you know what? It is open to everybody. because it is so impactful and powerful to see what collaboration looks like, as you are my collaboration family. And of course, you know, you're beyond that to me. But when great minds come together, when like-minded individuals come together, miraculous things happen. Things that are beyond even our own understanding. We just know we were in the room. So the Legacy Hub is really, it's bigger. It's way bigger than me. Way bigger than me. Um, the vision that I see for it, it's beyond even the laptop that I'm talking on right now. I'm excited. I know it's going to grow. And yeah, that's what I got. That's what I got, y'all. Alrighty, so let me go ahead and share my screen. And we can go ahead and jump into what we're talking about today. So, as I stated before, this is a little mindset and a little tech combo today. Mainly because we ain't doing our first midweek mindset yet. Y'all gotta wait till next week for that with Coach Kim down there. But in the meantime, we'll give you a little. I'll give you a little dose, a little something. Hold you over. All right. As we are entering into the new year, you know, many of us come with the mindset of what are our goals for this year? What exactly do we want to accomplish and how? This time of year, vision boards are huge for planning out what you want your 2026 to look like. And one thing that influenced this lesson is within the different communities. AI twins are a really huge trend right now. Like they are massive. I cannot scroll down not one timeline without seeing a digital dance, without seeing people being turned into emojis, advertising the businesses and everything. And I mean, don't get me wrong, they're absolutely amazing. Absolutely amazing. But of course, I can't just stop at surface level. And y'all know God don't just stop at surface level with me. He's like, all right, now let's dig a little deeper. What exactly is our AI twin? And, you know, if we were to craft our 2026 twin right now, how would we start carving him or her out? What are some of the things that we are going to take with us? And what are some of those things that we're going to be like, you know what? I don't need you anymore. You're just going to sit right here. I'm not completely disposing of you because I know you there. I learned my lesson from you. But I'm just going to make sure I can keep my eye on you. But I ain't got to carry you with me. And today, you know, we're talking about identity beyond just our survival tactics, which most of us still live in a fight or flight response, especially in these times. They're very uncertain. So as I dug deeper, I wanted to complement the theme for AI Legacy Hub, which is who are you becoming? And with many of our behaviors, habits, we have inherited behaviors and we have chosen ones. And for 2026, me personally, I am going forward with a bit more chosen behaviors rather than some of those inherited ones. Because even though they served me well, I don't have to take them everywhere. All right. So usually I start off with my shimmy, so I'm still going to shimmy. But I just want us to take a minute just to breathe. You know, it is Tuesday. We have kicked off a new year. Um, New intentions, new missions, new goals. I mean, our brains are already running on RGPT functioning mode right now with the things we have to kick out. But I want us just to take a minute, just to be quiet, just to just breathe. Okay. So nothing needs to be solved today. You don't need to perform insight. You don't need to improve yourself. Right now, you need to just be. Be in the present moment. Listen to your breath. As we're talking about inherited and chosen behavior and fight or flight, know that your survival identity is not a mistake. They were created and put in place for reasons, whether it was to protect you, to help you grow, shield you, but they're not permanent. And as we move forward, we're going to let that sit as we continue to talk. Alrighty, so what exactly is survival identity? A lot of times, this is our inherited behavior that we gain before we even know really what it is we're doing, to be honest. A lot of it is reactive to our families, for instance. I know there are some family members that in my own family are fixers. We are the ones that a lot of people lean on. Everybody want to come to. Everybody want to dump stuff on, right? And of course, when you're in that role, your defense mechanisms come. There's things that you have to learn from certain situations that make you respond in ways. Sometimes we pick up negative habits because of it, and sometimes positive. But right now, it's just about reflection. Another is our cultural expectations. I know growing up as a mixed woman, a biracial woman, it was a very interesting experience. Being African American and also being Puerto Rican, it was quite something. Kim and I in Mindset, we have spoken about code switching. When you do it since birth, it's a hard thing to be quiet. It's hard, but it's a very real thing. It's a very real thing. Another is early responsibilities. Some of us have experienced situations and circumstances within our families, within our lives, that has called for us to stand up and be present a little bit more early. Earlier than intended. And even with that, some of those behaviors, we're going to address and look into. Next is safety mechanisms. These are strategies that we have come up with to stay safe. Some feel included, valued, or just to keep yourself together when things feel like it's falling apart. I know in 2025, I may have been quiet about it, but there was quite a few things going on the other side of the screen. And I'll be honest, one of my safety mechanisms when I'm going through things is I get quiet. I don't say anything because me personally, I have to just evaluate the situation, so that's one of my just mm. I'll disappear. I'll be like the Homer meme, fading off into the bushes, like you won't see me. No more. No more. All right. So, how are some ways that we can identify our survival identity? Here's a few questions for you. Who do I need to belong? What version of me causes the least disruption? And how do I keep things from falling apart? Right. So you don't have to answer them now, but again, there's some questions to help get those wheels turning. All right, so next we're going to talk about our chosen identity. Who are we choosing to show up as? You know, a lot of times we feel that we have to be obligated to stay a certain way, to act a certain way, because this is where we are necessarily comfortable at. But if you were genuinely out loud honest with yourself, would your life look the way that you envision it right now? We know that no matter what we go through, we always could have chosen something differently, right? There's scenario situations we play back in our head where we're like, you know what? If I did take that extra Oreo, would it really have made a difference? But in that instance, you decided to keep, what is it, about 80 extra calories off your hips, you know. Um, but how are we doing that when it comes to our own lives? Are we allowing ourselves the permission to live in the genuine choices that we want to make for ourselves? You know, and I can tell you honestly, it's kind of a no at times for me, you know. Um, but this year, my husband and I, we were talking earlier, and we usually set our goals for the year. We'll sit down, we'll set individual goals, family goals, and house goals. And he had asked me, he goes, what's your goals for this year? I said, you know what my goal is? Genuinely, he goes, what, babe? To heal me. Because I heal so many people. I have helped so many people. I have done for so many people that, you know, it's my turn for me to step up and make that choice to put me first actively. So for 2026, that is what I am focusing on. And it's already started to put some shifts in place that I'm even looking at myself like, okay, girl, all right, let's take our time. But I'm all for it and I'm excited. So when it comes to our chosen identity, here's a few questions for you to think of from this perspective. What feels true when you're not being evaluated? So when you feel that microscope from others looking at you removed, and you're literally just in an honest moment with yourself, what is your truth? Excuse me. Another question. What parts of me were postponed but not absent? Because many times we feel that we lose ourselves right? We can go through so many situations in life where it's just like, ooh, okay, I definitely am not that person anymore. However, as you continue to progress, and I feel like I'm living what my grandmother and my father used to say, you live long enough, you'll realize stuff just repeats itself. Some of the lessons that happened in those other moments were postponed, and they were postponed because I needed to receive clarity in other elements. When you step out of the immediate view and put on your wide scope glasses, you start seeing things a bit differently. When you start choosing yourself, taking actions towards yourself, you start approaching things differently. And as we move into 2026, that is how I want you guys to start approaching it. What do you choose for you? You know, what are some of the behaviors that you're just no longer going to accept from yourself anymore? Not from anyone else, but from you. When you take that moment in the mirror and you like, all right, let's be honest. Because I know sometimes I look at myself in the mirror and I'm, girl, I got to talk to you. Let's have those conversations so we can really make that impact for this upcoming year. So I have a few prompts. They're reflective prompts that we're going to do. You can share or you could drop them in the chat if you don't want to say, out loud. I definitely respect everybody's privacy. I don't want to give up the tapes like that. So the first one, I'm gonna drop this in the chat, is set the relationship. We're going to go into ChatGPT and put this prompt in. Act as a calm, reflective mirror. Do not motivate me, do not give advice unless I ask. Help me notice patterns in what I share. So let me go ahead and copy this. And I will paste it in the chat. And hey to everyone that's just joining us. So let me know if you guys can grab that. And I am going to exit out of here, and I'm actually going to put it in chatty as well. Hey, Miss Janice. All right. So chatty response, understood. I'll stay neutral, calm, and observant. I won't motivate, fix, or advise unless you explicitly ask. I'll listen for patterns, themes, shifts, and repetitions in what you share and reflect them back to you plainly. Whenever you're ready, say what's on your mind. So let's go ahead and go down to the next part of our prompt. And here we're going to start talking about our inherited identity reflection. So with this prompt, you will have to fill a few things in. As it states, here are roles, traits, or behaviors I developed to survive, stabilize, or meet expectations. Reflect back what you notice without judgment. So prior to that, I want you to take a second and think of an inherited identity that you've absorbed. It doesn't have to be anything, super crazy. It could be a habit. It could be a defense mechanism. For me, I'll take and put in my silence. I get quiet. So I'll show how that is. So I'll paste the second part. And I'm just going to amend it. Becoming silent is a trait I developed. So I just amended that prompt just a little bit. Of course, as you work through the prompt, amend it to how you need as well. So now the prompt reads, becoming silent is a trait I developed to survive, stabilize, or meet expectations. Reflect back what you notice without judgment. So now,
You have to
say that again, T.
read the prompt.
Oops, I
You
thought I
just
hit
in the
send.
second.
My bad. I thought I hit the button. I didn't hit the button. All right, so there is the second prompt. So from what I put in, this is what Chatty is relaying to me. Here's what I noticed. Stated plainly and without judgment. You describe silence as a learned behavior, not an innate preference. The word develop suggests adaptation over time rather than choice. You link that adaptation to external conditions, survival, stability, expectations, rather than internal desire. There's a pattern of function over feeling in how silence is framed. It served a purpose, helped manage environments, reduced friction, or maintained balance. Silence appears as a tool, not an identity. You name multiple reasons instead of one, which suggests this trait was reinforced in different contexts, not a single moment. That repetition is likely strengthened it. You are observing the trait now rather than defending it. That distance indicates a shift from using silence to examining. Okay, so that is part two. Let me go down to the next one. And this one is going to focus on our chosen identity. I'm over here clicking buttons. Get out of there. So this prompt reads, if survival were no longer required, what parts of me might want more space? What qualities feel chosen rather than reactive? So I'm going to copy this in. And again, if you have to tweak the prompt a little bit, definitely feel free to do so. All right. So I'm going to go back to ChatGPT, post that in, and just reread. So take this first question out for me. So I amended my prompt, put in, if survival were no longer required, silence for me would resemble actual peace, not temperature control. Because there's been times and situations where you just stay silent just to keep the quote unquote peace, keep the friction down. So as a response, Chatty goes, here's what I noticed without judgment. You draw a clear distinction between reactive silence and chosen silence. One is described as temperature control, something calibrated in response to others or environments. The other is framed as peace, something internally generated rather than externally managed. There's a pattern of redefinition happening. You're not rejecting silence, you're changing its meaning. That suggests the quality itself isn't the issue, the origin is. Reactive silence adjusts to conditions. Chosen silence exists regardless of conditions. You use sensory language such as temperature, which implies constant monitoring before. Peace, by contrast, is unmeasured, no adjustment required. That contrast highlights a shift from regulation for safety to presence without calculation. You're speaking from a place that recognizes the difference between what kept you safe and what feels true. The awareness itself signals movement away from survival-based framing toward discernment. So, as I stated before, for me, silence is, I see it as dual-edged now. From one of me just keeping the peace versus now me choosing it and using my discernment of when to speak and when not to. But these habits and these behaviors that we have are identities that we need to identify within ourselves if we need to hold on to them as tightly. And if we are holding on to them so tightly, why? Why wouldn't we choose to let certain things go? Now, I'm no therapist. I just want to make that known, no behavioral specialist. But as a person that loves very bigly, I got love for a lot of people. I want us to start overcoming those hurdles. I want us to start moving those blockages out of our way. Because, sometimes we say, oh, this is blocking me or that's blocking me. But sometimes we're blocking our own blessings by just having simple repeated behaviors that we don't want to call out. And sometimes we need to get to the root and the core of them. And using tools like ChatGPT to help get those emotions out, sometimes it helps. It helps. Of course, I will always say, if you have to seek professional guidance and advice, I will always say that. I have a therapist on my power team. There is nothing wrong with it. But as we're walking into this new year, again, some things have to just come off of us. Because who we are planning to become in 2026, certain parts of 2025 can't fit in that pant size we're going to be in soon. We might be getting a little slimmer, a little trimmer. So that means we can't be taking everything with us. All right. So any questions or comments before we move on? Anybody like to share anything? Y'all good? Cool. Alrighty, so let me go back to my presentation and we can wrap it up. All right. Alrighty, so even with the little exercise that we just did, as I was stating, step 4 is using our discernment, choosing what we choose to carry. There's a statement here on screen: not everything you outgrow was wrong, and not everything you choose has to be dramatic. Choosing you doesn't have to feel like a drama. It could feel like a moment of you just choosing your peace over chaos. And chaos could just be the commute home. Instead of we're running right out the door from work, you sit in your car for maybe about 5-10 minutes before you put it in drive. You're just taking a moment for you. And believe me, there is nothing wrong with it. All right, the difference between letting go and honoring. Survival identity that deserves respect. It carried you through some real stuff. some circumstances and situations that without the adaptation of it, we might have broken. You know, our survival identity is very real. So let's acknowledge it, identify what it has accomplished for you. You know, give it its credit. Be grateful that those patterns, those behaviors, they did have kept you safe. They have kept you functional. All right. Then we have choice. Decide consciously what continues forward. Decide what parts come with you. And then integration. So we honor the past while choosing our present. The 2025 version of us is not saying it didn't exist, it never happened. We acknowledge it, we respect it, we honor it, and we take parts of those lessons and move forward with it. All right. And our closing reflection. You are not behind because you're questioning who you are. You're not late because you're choosing more carefully now. Identity work is not a delay, it's a direction. So here are two more questions for you. What am I ready to choose gently? And the other is what no longer needs to lead. All right. So those are the two questions I am leaving you guys with for this Teaching Tuesday. And like I said, it was a tech and mindset combo because for the next couple of weeks, we're going to be digging into our identity of who we are as business owners, as mothers, fathers, just who are we? Because after that 6 weeks, I'm letting y'all know I'm going on a little break and I'm coming back hard because then we're going to be talking about business for second quarter. So let's get these blockages and the QT and nice stuff out of the way for now. Because it's a whole game plan I have in store. And I'm excited to share it with you all. So as always, I thank you for your time tonight. I appreciate it. I didn't want to get too deep, really is a mindset. But we do have to make sure, regardless, our minds are set for 2026.